Hello, one and all, and welcome to the 237th episode of the Voluntary Viewing podcast, coming to you on October 16th, 2023, a Monday. Andrew Clark, what is a Mr. Pfizer?
A Mr. Pfizer is one Travis Football Kelce, famously known as Taylor Swift's boyfriend, and sometimes catches footballs better than any other receiving tight end, maybe in NFL history. And also a guy who promoted getting vaccinated, just in general.
Yep.
Like on a commercial for Pfizer, he's like, hey, get your COVID shot, maybe get your flu shot too. It's good for you and helps. It's totally chill. Nothing weird about it.
And got fucking paid for it.
Like,
yeah. Granted,
that's my weird thing. Is like, you've never taken a fucking endorsement, Aaron Rodgers. Like, what are you talking about?
And spoiler alert: Aaron Rodgers then unprompted. Aaron Rodgers, the guy that works for Johnson & Johnson, because the Jets are owned by Woody Johnson, the heir to the Johnson & Johnson fortune.
He's Mr. Johnson & Johnson.
Yeah, he's Mr. Johnson, not the other Johnson, the first one, not the second. Unprompted, was talking about Travis Kelce, dating Taylor Swift and all that shit. And he's like, yeah, Mr. Pfizer out there promoting Pfizer vaccines just because Aaron Rodgers is a fucking loser.
Yeah.
And then doubled down on it the next time he was on the Pat McAfee show and went full on debate me, bro. Like Travis Kelce says, I guess now we're in a vaccine war with each other. So come on and debate me. And he's like, you can bring Dr. Fauci and I'll bring RFK
Jr.
Yeah. Fucking Jesus Christ.
Meeting of the minds.
Just the most cursed. That's a cursed blunt rotation. Why not bring fucking what's his name? Ben Shapiro on.
Right.
Who gives a shit?
At that point.
Bring on Joe Rogan. He is easily convinced of anything.
I feel like we might be entering the most dangerous era of Aaron Rodgers as a public figure, because now he doesn't even have football to pour that manic energy into. And you just see every time he comes on the Pat McAfee show, he's sitting a little worse.
Yeah, I thought he was in a hospital bed or something. I think he might have been slouched on his bed with his phone balanced on his stomach or something. It looked weird.
Did you see that he's getting paid $1 million to go on that show?
Yeah.
Literally, Pat McAfee said he's paid Aaron Rodgers $1 million to be on the show.
This is the best use of $1 million.
I mean,
it's making him $10 million.
Yeah,
so
Aaron Rodgers is getting people to watch McAfee. That's just how it works.
Yeah, an active future Hall of Fame quarterback just shit talking.
Yeah, just saying unhinged bullshit on your show. It gets views. It gets clicks.
Yeah. No, it's bonkers.
Speaking of bonkers, Ryan Holtz. Have you ever been in a Zoom meeting and thought, boy, I bet an AI assistant could sure be useful right now? Because when I opened up the Zoom meeting for this call, there's an AI companion prompt at the bottom of the screen, and I can't even fathom what that would do in a Zoom meeting.
Yeah, no, seriously. AI assistants are now becoming the same as AI in general. Mm-hmm. Where it's just a strange buzzword for technology.
Yeah.
It's just anything you could throw an AI assistant on. Doing your laundry in a washing machine is yeah, but your AI assistant will optimize your laundry coefficient.
Is it kind of like when everything, all appliances became smart compliances, and then it even expanded past there? It's this is a smart backpack, and it just meant that there was a battery in it that you could plug your phone into, or smart fridges. Smart fridges just have touchscreens.
I think so. And my favorite niche of this is Some things have retroactively become AI. Like I've heard people describe spell and grammar checking programs as using AI, and that's it's not right, guys. It's not. Grammarly, shut the fuck up. You're
Yeah.
not. You're. Oh, I hate it. I hate how. I mean, the technology is. I know by its nature it is always getting better, but it's so clearly like people trying to cash in, cash out on an emerging technology that can be vaguely disruptive. And now everything has to fit that mold because most of the technology sector is still propped up on venture capital funds. And it's exhausting to have to keep entertaining this or have this continually forced on me.
Yeah, no, AI is it went from being like whoa, wait, is this the next big thing to like just another NFT-esque grift really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yeah.
mean, like, I do think that this obviously has more potential than like NFTs, but I don't know if it'll properly like explore that potential because of the easiness to make a quick buck.
But
Right.
what
Like
if we
example
put
number,
AI on the blockchain?
then you're gonna make $1 trillion. You're gonna be the first trillionaire.
Buco bucks, baby.
Yeah. I just feel like basically it's example number 5 million of how capitalism fails in like there is no motivation to make the superior like perfect product. The best way to make a lot of money is to, yeah, like you said, first mover advantage, like get in there quick before you can actually make like a good product that can actually advance the field. Like you kind of need outside motivation for it to actually kind of turn into something spectacular. Like you need a Cold War and two behemoth governments pumping untold billions of dollars. That's how you really take like a great leap forward in technological advancement, because there's no necessarily profit incentive in going to the moon. But if you just kind of really want to because of dick measuring, then
Yeah.
you can make it happen. So if one government was like, oh, it would be a huge competitive advantage if we just like created the end all be all AI and pumped unbelievable amounts of money into it, then that could make a difference.
And as far as I'm aware, no one's really doing that. Like every company I've seen engage with it, broadly at least, is doing so in a way. Oh, this is a marketing thing. Like this is
It's a
this,
chatbot. Like
yeah,
they're
it's
making
clippy.
yeah. I mean, like, it's the AI assistant that you and Ryan was talking about. Like, it is just something that will spell check for you, or like give you a 3 sentence paragraph based on a prompt, or it'll search the internet for you, like that kind of thing.
Yeah. Also, hello, I'm Lucas DeRuyter, and I had an IRL I think you should leave moment. May I describe that to you?
Please.
Of course. So last Saturday, I think that was, my partner Maria and I, we're going on a little walk. We're going to get a little snack from a shop down the street, taking in the day. The heat is just broken. And we come across some people we recognize from our building, like in a part of their little dog walking group. And we're like, oh, hey, how's it going? Start talking about stuff going around the neighborhood, in the building, yada, yada. And then we start chatting to a woman we didn't recognize who lived in a building near our neighborhood, talking to her a little bit. I've never had someone go like this fast and deep on their life story as what just occurred to me. So we ask her, hey, I think you said your building is rent controlled. Do you mind if we ask what you paid for it, like how you got there, yada, yada, yada. She tells us, and then she's like, yeah, but I like where I'm living. Had a fight to stay there, though. I got in because the building manager is my ex-sister-in-law. And let me tell you, my husband was a piece of work. And after I kicked his ass out the door, she'd try to get me out of the building. She turned into a real bitch with a capital C, if you know what I'm saying. And just exploding at me with weird profanity and at an intensity that was, I've known this woman for 3 minutes, and that is out the gate with it.
Welcome to my world, man. This shit happens to me all the time. Like, Yeah, it's always uncomfortable, but like there are people out there that will just at the drop of a hat tell you everything about them, like in a negative way.
Are people lonelier than I realize? Like
Yes,
just
that's a thing. People are lonely.
Because like that's the only thing I can fathom of like someone maybe not even like fully realizing it themselves, but just so desperate to connect with someone else that they're like, oh God, new person, gotta get it all out there as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I mean, there's also people that have like grievances. They feel like they're grievances that might be directed at like the world, so it's appropriate to spew them off like on anybody because they're
Yeah.
part of the world. Like, oh, you should know this because I'm pissed off. Like, and that is a reason to tell you, stranger, about this thing that I'm pissed off about. Um, and some people are just mentally ill. Like there's a lot of that going around. Like people are mentally unstable. And like sometimes if you're just a little bit mentally unstable, you tell people things you maybe shouldn't.
I yeah, I guess I forget that. I guess I forget that some people are incapable of having a normal one.
Yeah, I mean like and also like sometimes like depending on where you are on the mental health spectrum, like sometimes you got barriers with like oversharing and uh boundaries aren't always there. It's just how some people are. It doesn't make them pieces of shit. But then sometimes there are pieces of shit that uh feel like everybody should know the thing that they're mad about, and sometimes it's the government or uh the Jews, like people like that. Like you run into people all the time that are like, oh, hey, look, a breathing other human being. I need to tell them about the lasers and shit like that.
I mean, it goes back too to like some of the extremist viewpoints, and it's like, well, when you understand where they're coming from, it makes a little bit more sense logically. Like it still
How they got
makes them
to where
sound
they
crazy.
are
Yeah.
speaking. Yeah.
But if they really think that like, you know, abortion, for example, is murder, then it's like, I guess I can see how you would be willing to literally murder people for it, even though that seems pretty morally problematic to, murder people. Same with, like, I don't know, in religion in general. Like, if you think that like everyone who does not convert to your religion is going to literally burn in a fiery inferno for forever, then I could start to see why you might be a little bit more like, hey,
Have you heard
we
about
need
this
to
guy, Jesus
spread this
Christ?
word because otherwise all these people are going to suffer for eternity. And it's like, okay, if you're a true believer, you can start to see the logic at least.
I kind of want to hear the pitch.
Wait, which pitch? The good news?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah,
Have you never
like,
been approached by
Yeah, you've never been
like a
approached by like an
missionary?
evangelical?
not that I can recall. Like I'm kind of
Oh.
yeah, now that I think about it, like growing up Catholic, being indoctrinated into that, I've never been like yeah, I've never had someone what can they do for me? Like what yeah, why Catholicism? Why Christianity? Why any religion over another? Like what can you do for me in the afterlife?
You do the like sell me this pen.
Yeah. But God.
Yeah. Sell me on it. I'll think about it. Yeah, I there's a group of Mormons that live in the building right next to mine. So I get approached by them all the time. And then yeah, just like people on the street, especially at like public events. Usually you just tell them like, "Hey, no thanks. Have a good day." Like I'm out. But
Andrew, can Sony sell you on a PlayStation 5 or PlayStation 5 Digital Edition Slim?
no. Have you seen them? They're perfectly proportional. They look exactly like the current PS5, but like 80% of the size. It's like if this thing was like a laptop, if it was flat, if it was like a PlayStation 4 Slim, whatever. They're low profile, little, cheap.
Yeah.
I mean, if I didn't already have one, I would say, yeah, I would get that one instead of the regular one. But they are still just weirdly shaped and unwieldy. and not that much smaller. Like, I don't get it.
What, they are 20% smaller though. Why would I pay the same amount of money for 20% less console?
It's but I mean, the specs aren't smaller, right? Like,
No,
because
no,
sometimes when they release like slim versions, they are light versions.
right.
They don't have as much storage or processing or whatever.
Like
But
what
these are
Xbox did with
the
whatever the
digital
smaller. Yeah,
edition.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Although speaking of the digital edition, that one is going to cost $50 more than the existing model. Seemingly because that one has the ability to have an external disk drive attached to it. Which is the most like boardroom solution to a problem I think I've ever heard. Like, it.
So the disc slim is the same price as the full size disc,
Correct.
and the discless slim is more money than the regular discless.
So $50 more than what is currently available in the model. That $50 more than the model that is currently available in America. But that one had a price increase internationally a couple months back, I believe. So this is kind of catching up to that.
Okay, so it's getting it up to the price that it is everywhere else.
Yes, but I was being a little nudge, nudge, wink, wink with it. But yes, essentially, you are paying $50 more for a console that does have 200 gigabytes more storage in the Slim.
Well, there's that.
That's true of the regular model as well. But you can also attach an external disk drive. Why not just buy the one with a disk in it? I don't know. Give people the option.
Yeah, it's a little weird. Well, like, I can get like if some kid wanted the disc version and like their grandparents got them the one without the disk drive, and or if you get the digital one because it's cheaper and then later on you like get a deal on some like physical games and you want to be able to play them, or you want to be able to play your old PS4 games. But it is still kind of like at that point, you're going to have to pay for the disc drive. Why don't you just pay the extra $50 to get the disc version? It's weird.
This also feels a little superfluous, right? Like, I understand last generation's like PlayStation Pro, like the mid life cycle upgrade made this feels superfluous a little bit.
Yeah, it's a bit strange.
And now I'm trying to see.
It's kind of like the whole like, do you remember the PlayStation handheld streaming thing that we talked about it a while back when they announced it, and as kind of like the who is this for? Why does this exist? Like, who is this for? Who is going to buy a diskless version of a PlayStation 5 and then get a disk drive? Who is going to get this handheld PlayStation streaming device that requires you to have a PlayStation 5 and a NORAD level Wi-Fi connection?
And now I am rapidly searching online to try to see if previously when this happened, like the new models cost less or anything like that, because I just don't know the motivation of releasing these. Why change it up? Why do that? I
don't get it. I've been a Sony loyalist for a really long time, but I feel like they've stumbled a little bit with this generation of console. Part of that is Xbox acquiring every single game developer under the moon and like seemingly having a really good lineup of games and like a good like product in the whole like Xbox Live game library thing, whatever it's called, Game Pass.
Yes.
And PlayStation kind of failing on all of that. Like the game lineup is not big. Their whole like slim version thing is really stupid. Their handheld streaming thing is really stupid. They're like, it doesn't really seem like they have a great plan moving forward, and they're just making a lot of movies and TV shows. based on games that already came out a decade ago. So yeah, it's weird.
It's going to be really interesting to see how much of that course corrects with Jim Ryan no longer the CEO there. But then for what it's worth, I don't know. Sony's strategy, I feel like everyone has two. Everyone has two of like the Sony IP that they really want to keep up with. I I would have bought a PlayStation just for the new Death Stranding, but I'm also delighted that Demon Souls, that remake, is also the best game I've played on PlayStation 5 so far. So,
and that's a remake of a game that came out 15 years ago.
Yeah. Still good. Still the best game on PlayStation 5 right now.
Yeah, but that's bad. Like, yeah. I'm not saying that it isn't good or that it's bad that you like that game. I'm saying that it's bad that a remake of an old video game is the best game that PlayStation has to offer right now.
And that actually is a fantastic talking point to do a transition of another item I have on this. But yeah, the Xbox executive, Phil Spencer, he said as much in some documentation that got out as a part of, I forget if it was, a part of the lawsuit of Sony trying to block the merger, the acquisition. But yeah, he put out some internal memos that were like, hey, so the IP being produced by AAA developers that are all doing well, those are all more than a decade old and are about to be trying to get blood from a stone type situations. This all doesn't seem sustainable. We're not sure how to change that or address it, but yeah, that's a heads up about the state of the gaming industry. That's not great.
Yeah. I mean, The Last of Us is like maybe dead in the water. Like, I know that multiplayer standalone game that they were going to have is like on an indefinite freeze. It might never come out. The Uncharted series is done. Jack and Daxter is never coming back. The Horizon series is really good, but not like nearly as popular as it needs to be in order to like be the flagship of Sony.
Or even the stuff that you thought was like sure money a decade ago, Halo, Call of Duty, those aren't what they used to be, either in quality or I imagine monetarily. That's gotta be weird. Anyway, yeah, Microsoft bought Activision Blizzard King. Finally, that finally went through. Here's some of the IP they own: Crash Bandicoot, Call of Duty, Diablo, Guitar Hero, Hexen, King's Quest, Overwatch, Police Quest, SWAT, Skylanders, Space Quest, a lot of quests.
Yeah.
StarCraft, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, Ultimate Soccer Manager, Warcraft, World of Warcraft, Candy Crush. Oh, every Bethesda game.
Nice.
They own Halo. Oh, they own Gears of War. I knew that. They own Blue Dragon? Oh, they own Banjo-Kazooie.
Whoa.
Killer Instinct. Connect Sports.
Oh, that's a big one.
Look out now.
Yeah.
I forgot they bought Minecraft.
Yeah, Microsoft's owned Minecraft for a while now.
Yeah. Oh, Zoo Tycoon.
A lot of defunct titles, I'm noticing.
Yeah. They
can bring it back. Revive them? They're going to revive Guitar Hero?
That is a thing.
Oh, really?
I saw an article about it like yesterday that like they are planning to revive Guitar Hero.
So how does that work when like Clone Hero is just better and free
and online? Like, I can't imagine that it requires much of a like powerful computer, right?
No, it's
like
totally
you should
chill.
be able. Could you do it on a Chromebook?
I don't know about a Chromebook, but you can't play Guitar Hero on a Chromebook either.
Well, no. But I'm saying, like, why? Like, how are they going to make money off of that game when it's already like a better version of it is already accessible to like 90% of people out there?
Yeah. I don't know, man. Sometimes ideas were not meant to be monetized, and rhythm guitar games might be one of them.
Boy, those had their moment.
Yeah.
We're losing our culture. Oh, they also own Conquer, as in Conquer's Bad Fur Day. They make another one of those.
I don't know what
Oh,
that is.
I do know that one.
That's like the raunchiest N64 game that ever released.
Yeah, it's Conker, like Conker or something like that.
Is it like Postal, but for N64?
No, it's a cartoon squirrel with a foul mouth.
Yeah, it's kind of like if Mario 64 was made by Rick and Morty,
Oh, fun.
but like not nearly like that level, but yeah,
Not even that good.
no.
You guys are selling it real hard.
This is weird. It's weird that Microsoft, it's not weird that Microsoft is buying up people wholesale in game, since Microsoft as a company has infinite money. It's weird that Xbox is way in last place in gaming and now owns a bunch of these really noticeable and also really niche IP.
Yeah. I mean, look, the second that antitrust legislation fails us, this is like the logical conclusion of capitalism is massive, massive mergers, like beyond what you could even imagine before modern capitalism, basically. So, yeah, it makes sense that if, legislators aren't going to crack down, this is what's going to happen, y'all.
Also, I think King only has like 3 games without the word saga in their title. We got Rebel Riders, we got Shuffle Cats, Paradise Bay. That's it. Everything else has a saga, including Scrub Daddy Saga.
Is that like the Scrub Daddy, like the
Sponge?
Yeah, the sponge.
I mean, King wasn't always huge, so maybe they. Wow, that's not even coming up as a game. No clue. No clue what this is. Huh.
Yikes.
Well, Microsoft owns it now. You paid for that. You paid $1 billion for that, Microsoft.
Yep. For that one in particular.
Good job.
Scrub Daddy Saga. And they're like, 1 billion. And they're like, sold?
How long until we can't play Call of Duty on PlayStation anymore?
I don't know. Haven't they talked about like how they're not going to go exclusive on it?
Yeah, but
they will.
That's not legally binding.
But it's more money for them, I think, in the long run, if they actually cater to half of the audience. Like, I don't think Call of Duty is the type of title that's going to force people to necessarily buy an Xbox. Could be wrong, but it seems like a very risky maneuver for them to sacrifice potentially half of their software income, hoping that it'll boost their hardware income. Like, I guess if anything, it would be at the launch of the next generation consoles, right? Like,
yeah,
to try to force more sales there. But I don't know.
Unity CEO and long-hated figure in gaming, John Riccitiello, retires from his role at Unity. Yeah, no follow-up there other than good, I guess. But also Unity is just going to continue to become a worse company because, boy, they have a board. They have other people. Like John Riccitiello is a symptom of the problems there. And more broadly in the late-stage capitalism, heavily affected gaming industry. So, yeah, no, like it's only going to get worse over there. Don't develop on Unity if you can help it, people. Yeah. Also, we got a trailer for the Scott Pilgrim anime. My only request is that they don't change any of the dirtbaggery.
What do you think is going to happen?
I think that is going to be a faithful adaptation of the comics, and that no one will complain. No one will complain about this piece of media that is fundamentally about bad human scumbaggy people learning to be a little bit better. They'll be totally cool with people making mistakes as they go on a journey of self-betterment. No one's going to react poorly to a 24-year-old dating a 17-year-old.
You're worried about cancel culture coming for Scott Pilgrim?
I feel
I
like
don't think-
you've canceled Scott Pilgrim in the past. Like you've been like, Scott Pilgrim, yeah, that's weird.
I mean, Scott Pilgrim as a character should be canceled. He can get soft canceled for a little while, but as a piece of media, pretty good, pretty responsible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it well.
I think so.
No notes.
I mean, if the anime like has characters smoking less or using less profanity, I think they're missing the point of what Scott Pilgrim is about a little bit. But
It's about smoking and
Yeah,
profanity.
the smoking is back. Lucas
Yeah.
and smoking is just.
Is this why you brought this up last
Yeah.
week? Because you were thinking about the possibility of less smoking in Scott Pilgrim, a movie that I don't remember featuring that much smoking.
the comic has a lot of smoking. A decent amount of smoking. A reasonable amount of smoking for towny young adults. Let's put it like that.
Oh yeah.
What age group is young adult? Because I feel like actual young adults and like the book demographic young adult are different.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel like when I was in high school, young adults were what they called us. Like, you know, people that were 15, 16, 17 years old, but not legal adults.
Yeah.
But then I feel like once I was in college, that's what I was still called, was a young adult, like a legal adult that wasn't old yet. And
I feel like, yeah, at some point, young adult went from, yeah, like teenagers, like mid teenagers to like actual young adults. I don't know when, because I always felt like a bit of like a what's it called?
oxymoron.
Yeah, not an oxymoron, what is the term I'm thinking of? Like when you're kind of like
Paradox.
looking down on someone
Oh,
and you're kind of like, oh, I'll give you this one. Like, fuck, man.
Judgmental,
No, not judgmental.
bonsai,
Dude, this is gonna drive me crazy.
favor,
No,
holier
like
than
it's
thou.
like it's kind of like you're patronizing.
patronizing.
It always felt patronizing, you know, like it always felt like, hey, you're a young adult, like, but everyone knew you weren't, and you didn't have any rights. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like that's how it used to be, and maybe it's not so much anymore. But you know,
I definitely think a part of that is that a lot of people about our age never stopped reading YA fiction. So
Yeah.
maybe that demo, was fluid and aged up with them. Not in terms of
Millennials-
content, of course, but in like who was in the audience.
Millennials do love their young adult fiction, even at the age of 35.
How the fuck are there still people who only read Harry Potter? It's weird. Read a different book.
I think
Or
they
else.
do read different books. I think they just continuously also read Harry Potter.
I don't like it. I don't like Harry Potter.
yeah, you don't like Harry Potter at all. Did you ever read it as a kid?
I think I tried it. I think I gave the first chapter a try and was like, not for me.
I've literally never read it, so
Oh.
I know nothing about it.
I mean, I read it when I was a kid, and then like, you know, how old are we when the last books would have come out? You know, probably like early high school.
I think 7th grade, 8th grade.
Yeah, something like that. Like,
Hmm.
and I read them, and I liked them. Like, I liked them a lot when I read them. But then again, like, I was a teenager at the very oldest. Like, the first Harry Potter book I would have read, I was probably like 8 years old.
You had
So-
shit taste.
I mean, yeah. But also,
were-
like, they were perfectly good books. Like, they were. Like, people that like shit on Harry Potter by saying that they were really bad books are missing the point. Harry Potter sucks because the author is a huge bigot, and the people that are still really into Harry Potter are fucking weirdos. But like, the Harry Potter books were fine, and the movies were fine. Like, you know, that's not the bad part here. It's like, you know, Disney adults. It's the same thing. Disney movies, fine. A lot of them are really good. But when you make it your whole identity, that's the weird bad part. Am I
I think Harry Potter
wrong
books
here?
are mid.
Yeah, you're wrong, dude. You're wrong as shit. No, I don't know.
I gave him a chapter,
I
and I was like, nah, no.
one chapter. Have you
Bounced
ever
off.
read a book? That's not fair to
Hey,
the
I was
book.
11. I had a lot going on. You got to hook me out of the gate. Otherwise, I'm not wasting my time
At
here.
that
Come
point,
on.
you were reading the Percy Jackson books. I remember you loved
And they came in
those.
strong. Percy Jackson, cool shit.
It's the same
He
thing.
fights a minotaur out of the gate.
They fight other things in Harry Potter. I don't know.
Oh, I'm going to talk to a snake, and that's engaging. My mean parents aren't going to let me have this pet owl who's delivering mail. Ugh.
Not his parents.
Yeah,
Very
he's-
famously not his parents. That's
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
the whole
His
the
aunt,
whole
uncle,
books is that they're not his parents.
his parents are dead.
I really want to go to
I
private school, but my mean aunt and uncle won't let me.
like I got like a maybe 3 or 4 chapters into Dune and stopped it, but I don't go around like shitting on Dune. Like I'm like I did not give it a fair shot. Like
But to be fair to you, that is everyone's experience reading Dune. It is an impossibly dense book. Like I've never even
Everyone.
tried.
clearly it's very popular. Clearly
Yeah.
some people read it because otherwise it wouldn't have this whole
But it's
culture.
almost people almost read it because it's a challenge. It's like people that read like Infinite Jest or Gravity's Rainbow. They don't do it because it's a really good book. They do it because it's hard as shit to read.
They
I
do
think
it for
people
bragging
exclusively
rights.
read Infinite Jest because they're insufferable, and they're trying to be even more insufferable.
They're just trying to ramp it up.
Oh, yeah.
Insufferability. I can see it.
All right. That's enough of podcast inflammatory comments for me today. What are y'all checking out? What are we talking about? What are we doing?
Me and Angel went back and we did end up watching more Gen V.
Oh, shit.
It's not bad.
Reclaimed.
I still don't think it's good.
Okay.
I stand by that. I am getting more into the characters in just the like, oh, these aren't bad guys. Just straight up. The superheroes are good guys in this. And I guess maybe I could see like the social disconnect being the whole Gen V of it all. Or not Gen V, like the whole Compound V of it all. Because like it is becoming now more and more of like an actual thing in the universe of like, man, when it dropped, like when the Compound V stuff dropped, like all this shit changed, you know, like so I guess maybe that's the catalyst to actually having like decent people as superheroes, you know? Like even the bad guy superheroes in the show for the most part are just like flawed and like trying to make their way and are not actual villains at all. So it's kind of weird to wrap your head around that knowing what you know about the boys. And I can't wait for Butcher to experience these like good guy superheroes because it's kind of weird. But then like there's even a whole episode where like they bring in this Private Eye. It reminds me very much of fucking what's it called?
Invincible.
Yeah, Invincible.
Oh.
They have the detective.
The demon detective played by Mr.
like
Krabs.
which again, both on Amazon already have some like trouble with like brand recognition there. But yeah, and then he's like 40 and he's a massive piece of shit. So it's like I don't you know, like I don't know how much of this is intentional that like, nah, all of these kids that you're following are good guys or just like regular college kids, you know?
Right.
Like it's kind of strange.
They're either good or 19. Like, what do you want from them?
They even had I just realized they even had a young a superhero who I guess his superpower was that he looks like he's like 15 or 14 like Invincible. They just the parallels are kind of getting strange, but yeah. It's not bad. It's not bad TV, but sometimes confusing with what we know about the original.
Do you think it's going to do the thing where, hey, if you want the next season of The Boys to make sense, you really got to watch all the Gen V to the end?
No, because even with this, like they make sure it stands alone. I think that there'll be Easter eggs for sure. Like there'll 100% be stuff that like will not work for you if you don't, you know, know about
Mhm.
the Gen V timeline, but I don't think that it'll be like actual important plot details necessarily. Similar to this, it's like, yeah, the whole reveal about Compound V, which was a big fucking thing
Yeah.
in The Boys, is also a big fucking thing in this universe. But like, you know, you don't
So this is taking
necessarily have to
place
know.
concurrently. Like,
No, this is afterwards.
okay.
This is like, I'm guessing after the events of The Boys.
So
Like they
they
don't show like them leaking Compound V, but they show like the characters talking about what happened when it leaked. So like the
okay.
timeline of the show The Boys, I feel like this happens like basically picks up where The Boys has left off in its most recent season.
Okay.
Are
They leaked Compound V at the end of season 2, right?
I think so. I think
Yeah,
that was the big thing.
because I
And that
remember
was
Black Noir crying, and he was dead by the end of season 3.
it was not in season 3. It was like 3 years ago in the events of the show that
Okay.
Compound V was leaked. So, or however many years ago. So,
are the fights interesting? Are the powers interesting? How they intersect with each other?
yeah, they have like unique superpowers for sure. It's
Okay.
very Boys-esque where it's like, oh shit, that's a weird superpower to have, you know? Like, but that would make sense. Like, they wouldn't all be just like flying and being able to punch people really well.
Huh.
There'd be some weird shit.
Again,
Like,
that's what I
long
really
penis guy.
Yeah, they did bring him back for a little
Uh,
cameo. So that's fun.
sure.
Like a cameo, like you don't even
Oh,
see.
okay.
It's just a reference of like, aha,
No,
that's
but
for the
like
Boys watchers.
that's what I really liked about some of the writing in season 1, and this might be just a me specific thing, but yeah, I don't even the scene where it's, and this is doing a Superman riff, but Homelander on the plane. And like he doesn't, oh yeah, he's the strongest superhero by a mile. He doesn't have the skill set to land a plane to save everyone on that plane.
That was such a good scene looking back on it. Like that was honestly peak The Boys. Like everyone's perfectly motivated. Like it all makes sense. It's all happening in our world, like the physics of it all, of just like I'd punch right through the fucking plane. Like I can't lift a plane out of the sky. Like that doesn't work. That makes no sense. Like that was definitely good stuff.
And if he had done anything besides laser the terrorists, like solve that situation any other way, he would have avoided that consequence.
Yeah.
But that was the easiest solution. So of course he fucking did it.
Yeah. He lasers everything. They even set that up in the earlier episodes that he loves to just laser shit rather than actually do any sort of fighting. Because, yeah, if there was a superhero who was like morally kind of
yeah, why would he punch
would
someone when
lazy.
just looking at them would just get the exact same situation done, like the end result?
Yeah,
he could punch a dude's head off, or he could just look at him for half a second and his head's gone. Like, what? Yeah, why do anything else?
Superman would never fight any other way. But you know, then they use that weird stuff in the later seasons to kind of.
But what if we punched him really hard?
What if we held him on the ground and he just kind of shook around a little bit? The most powerful being ever feasibly imagined. I don't. They're struggling with it. I had faith in them that they'd be like, we'll find a way to make this fight satisfying. And yeah, similar to Game of Thrones, like, you know, they built up nothing but goodwill. So you're like, I don't know how they're going to bring this around, but like, if anyone can do it, and then they didn't. Like,
they're also now
kind of where they're at.
Fully off of the script of the comic, which a lot of the changes they had made in season 1 and season 2, I think for the best, definitely. The twist with Black Noir, also probably correct. The twist of the comic was really edgelordy, like a lot of the comic, but yeah, what do they do now? Where do they go from here? How do they stick this landing?
Yeah, how do you kill an unkillable god? Like you kind of back yourself into a corner a little bit with the writing there.
Hey, they put the other unkillable god in ice, so you can bust that out at any time, I guess.
I feel like Soldier Boy is just not Homelander. Like, he's really not. He's the best shot they've got. Similar to Invincible, the fucking what's his name? Who's the guy that they sewed
Omni-Man.
his head back on? What was it?
Oh, that's Soda's head.
Just
It's the
Omni-Man,
Immortal.
but
It's the
weaker.
Immortal.
Yeah,
The
the
Immortal.
Immortal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Similar to the Immortal, it's like Soldier Boy's their best chance because he's the second best. So if you get him and a bunch more shit, maybe you got a shot. Like,
But we never got like an accurate scale. Like if Soldier Boy was 80% as strong as Homelander, then it kind of made sense that adding a fewer weaker people would like kind of get you almost even where like Homelander was on the ropes in that fight. But we don't know if he's 80% as strong as Homelander or if he's 30% as strong as Homelander. And the next closest person is only 10% as strong as Homelander.
and Soldier Boy can't fucking fly. Like, the weird just
Or laser.
debuff that lasers, like, I feel like you can make people resistant to lasers, you know, like they can be superhero strong, and like lasers work really well against human beings, but not against superheroes necessarily. But like, yo, you forget like his main power. Like, it's kind of the first thing you do if you were
Main
in
power
trouble.
is drinking milk. Let's be clear.
That's a big time power. But one thing that Gen V is struggling with is that they keep sending in fucking red shirts to like try to deal with the superhero stuff, and they keep getting murdered. And it's just like, so like, when would Vought send in fucking superheroes? You know, like why are they going to keep sending in these special forces guys that just keep getting their shit rocked?
So they're
like,
literally normies. You're sending in
Regular guys.
Yeah. And the people keep like begging for their lives and stuff and trying to be like, oh, I'm a single dad. I've got 2 daughters. Their names are Delilah. And then they're just getting like murked. And it's just like, okay, but like, this is like the 7th time you've tried this and it didn't work the other 6. So like, when are you gonna send in some soups, you know? Like,
yeah. All right, which one of our grunts has the saddest backstory? Your time to get in there.
Yeah. And they even make like jokes about it. Like, they're just like, oh, ask Bob here. And he's like, no, that one's Greg. Like, that they're just faceless like goons that the superheroes can kill. Like, I don't know. So it's not perfect. It's probably worth watching. You guys should probably check out the first episode as potential fans of The Boys. Like, it's definitely got something there, but I don't know where it's going. Maybe it'll be a nice breath of fresh air and it'll kind of land this season on its feet and be a good little like, oh, getting a little tired of like the fact that The Boys back themselves into a corner. Like, check out Gen V where the superheroes are good guys.
Andrew, what have you been checking out?
I've checked out a few things in the last week. Ryan, I see your shirt. That reminds me that I finished the final season of Archer.
Yeah, series finale.
Yeah.
Did they stick it?
Not really.
Oh,
I mean, like, it was fine. But, like, that was kind of the whole season. Like, I think I told you what they were doing with the last season or the previous season of Archer, where it's like, oh, yeah, it's still going back to like office comedy, but like with spies as the backdrop.
Yeah.
And they did that. It just wasn't as funny as it had been in the past. Hasn't been for a while.
Maybe because the season was 14 anymore, but regardless.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we don't know like if Archer really holds up or if they ran out of material. There was a couple of plot lines that they like developed last season that just didn't exist anymore. Like the main subplot line of the main plot of the previous season was that they were like trying to get control of their spy agency back.
Mm-hmm.
The subplot line was that Pam got a girlfriend. This like kick-ass Swiss spy lady that she had been like crushing over for a while, and then like they developed a relationship, and it was like, oh, that's interesting. Like they finally developed some of these characters a little bit. There was some growth that hadn't been there for a really long time. She doesn't exist in this season. Like that plot line ended with them going official, and it was like, call her your girlfriend already. Like, ew. Like, no. Like, what are you, 14? This is my polyamorous number 1. And then just never mentioned again in this season. They did, however, introduce a new main character with 8 episodes of the season left. Ex-Interpol agent Zara. She's young and hot and British, and basically just a younger version of Archer, like just as unhinged and alcoholic. Like that was the whole thing, is that she's like, Archer, you're old, and he's like, you're stupid, and that was their dynamic. Didn't go anywhere with it. Like Zara was added to the show for kind of no reason other than to just
where's
have another
Lana?
Character.
Isn't that
Yeah.
Lana's thing?
Yeah, Lana is the head of the spy agency now because Mallory's gone, because
Right.
Jessica Walter died.
So she can't have that same dynamic with Archer of just
No,
like,
because their dynamic is, I'm your boss now, and you're also my baby daddy. And their kid was a character in the last season, and they never appear once, or I want to say even mention them.
good.
So it was just weird that they like started to kind of be like, let's develop these characters that we've had around for 14 years and like give them new dimensions that we hadn't really like thought of before, and then drop it all.
Yeah.
And then the show ends, spoiler alert, with like the UN being like, hey, we need to talk about some of the bad shit you guys are doing. And then like it ends with them being like, yeah, you guys are done. Like you're all private spy agencies can't exist anymore. You got 30 days to disband. And then they're like, oh, that sucks. And then the show's over.
Damn. Yeah, that's not great.
And not even in like a Seinfeld sort of way where they go back and like reveal all the bad shit that they did. The UN thing was happening in the background of like the mission of the week. And then they're like, oh yeah, the UN shut us down. It's stupid. Other than that, I watched the newest season of The Dragon Prince while I was donating platelets.
Oh, that's out?
Yeah.
Huh.
It kind of came out of nowhere. They didn't announce it. They were just like, it's here. So like I saw it on Netflix while I was donating platelets, and I watched it. Pretty boring, not great. Wouldn't recommend it. Jade and I watched Ocean's 11 over the weekend. We went out to a hotel in Baraboo, otherwise known as the Joshua Tree of Wisconsin.
Of course.
Which hotel did you go to?
The Willowwood Inn. It's just a roadside, like cutesy roadside hotel we've been to. But they have VHS tapes.
Oh my god!
And they had Ocean's 11, which we had brought up.
We just brought that up recently. That
Jade's
never
immaculate
seen
timing.
Jade
George
never
Clooney
seen it.
stuff.
Didn't really know any George Clooney movies. Didn't like George Clooney. And I said, okay, come on, we gotta watch it. She thought Ocean's 11 was the 11th iteration of an action movie series that takes place on a boat. Just for no reason other than the title.
Yeah.
And she did not know that it was a heist movie. When I explained to her what it was, she's like, oh, that actually sounds really good.
It is good.
Yeah, and we watched it, and she's like, yeah, that was really good.
Ocean's 11 is like Pulp Fiction, where it's like, no, this movie got like lampooned in pop culture because it was good, not because like it was shitty. Like,
yeah, it's so iconic. Like you've seen not just lampoons, but like you've seen just shitty knockoffs of people going like, hey, we got to do this thing for a movie. Let's do an Ocean's 11 kind of thing.
Yeah.
The
whole like describing the heist as it's actually like playing out happening on screen, like the planning is the real heist.
The getting the crew together, and they've all got their different skills.
That's straight out of Ocean's 11. Like,
and
that's
then
the whole
and
thing.
then there's, oh, you thought this was happening? Well, you didn't know that secretly this whole time. Blah 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 blah.
Well, I'm explaining the plan. The real plan has been happening. Like, yeah, that's all Ocean's 11. Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you guys enjoyed. I haven't watched a movie on VHS in an ungodly amount of time, and I am very curious.
Did you see the whole thing? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Lucas.
No, go ahead.
Did you see the whole thing with Pete Davidson a couple days ago? He was interviewed on some late night show, and he's like, yeah, the last VHS tape was made in 2006. And he owns like almost all of the unsealed VHS copies available in the world, and has been stockpiling them in order to then sell them at like huge profits. He's
Wait.
like, he has like 4,000 sealed VHS tapes at like an assistant's
He
house.
lives in New York. Where was he storing these? I was
At
about
an
to
assistant's house.
Okay,
Like,
that's mean to that assistant. But
yeah, he
okay.
said like, yeah, no, their girlfriend doesn't like it. But he said like, yeah, like it got cool. They became like collector's items, and now I have acquired almost all of them and are selling them for like $20,000 each.
Is there a caveat on this? Is this like
No, it's just the
VHS
thing.
films or like
They're just sealed VHS copies of movies.
okay? Am I the only one
Weird.
who's surprised that Pete Davidson has that kind of money?
Nah, that
Yeah.
dude's loaded.
I know,
Yeah.
but he doesn't seem like it, right?
Well, that's his whole thing. Is
Yeah.
His whole thing is he's a dirtbag, but he's been in major motion pictures. He's been the lead on TV shows.
Yeah, he's got that show on Peacock.
yeah,
Bupkis.
like he's loaded.
And he was probably like one of the highest paid people on SNN for a while because of his fame.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But he
I
probably
mean,
got
SNL
Ariana and Kim Kardashian to, dole him
Help
out
him
some
out.
cash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
had some sugar mamas.
Oh yeah. Oh, Pete Davidson, Pete Sugar Baby.
Not talked enough about in
No.
pop culture is the sugar mama.
Mm.
Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
That's been a thing that I've had to do in my office because I have very few football fans in my office and a lot of Swifties. Is people not understanding how good Travis Kelce is at football. And
That he's
just
not just a guy. that she
right, yeah, just
knows.
assuming it's like a Chris Humphries, Kim Kardashian situation where it's just a guy in the NFL. It's like, no, imagine he's very famous for being very, very good. Like he is in the discussion for the best player of all time at his position. Like this is not no, I understand why most people wouldn't have heard of him because he's a fucking tight end and he blocks half the time. But
Yeah.
like this dude is not he's not a football player. He is a superstar. Like any NFL fan will know who Travis Kelce is. Like this is kind of a big thing. And I know, to someone who doesn't care about football, it wouldn't be, but like there's a reason that like I don't know, if fucking I'm trying to think of like the most random NFL player I can think of. If I don't know if he's still in the league, but like if Kiko Alonso was dating Taylor Swift, like yeah, they'd probably show her in the crowd, but it's not the same thing because when you show her, you get the football fans and the Swifties. Like you wouldn't get just the Swifties. Like big time football fans tune in to watch Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. Like
Ryan, from your direct experience, what are Swifties enthusiastic about this new relationship? Do they have concern? Like, okay.
No, they're like, yeah, they're very protective of Taylor
Right.
Swift, but like, no, they're excited that she's dating someone. They enjoy when she's in a relationship because it means
Okay.
more content.
I
mean,
It
and
means
also
more stuff.
Travis Kelce is a personality. Like Travis Kelce didn't just, start getting in all these commercials because of Taylor Swift. Like Travis Kelce is a personality. He is
he was Mr. Pfizer.
Yeah. He's got a
Dude,
monocle on.
Mr.
Instead
Pfizer
of
2023.
peanuts, it's just like fucking syringes. Instead of a cane and a monocle, he's got syringes and
a football.
Yeah. I'm Mr. Pfizer. I'm a simple country folk with
I'm Mr. Pfizer. I'm Mr. Sun.
my mRNA vaccine technology has really come a long way. It's gotten me a place or two. Oh, wait, is he going to die tragically in a car accident? And then it's going to be baby Pfizer?
Oh, he's going to get born again? Oh, yeah, there's baby Gronk. Why isn't there baby Kelce?
Oh my God. Is he going to... Oh, he's going to riz up Livy Dunn. Look out. That's next.
God damn it.
And then he's going to commit to LSU.
We're so many fucking layers deep at this point. Maria and I are continuing our Wes Anderson filmography watch through. I think I like the light. No, I don't know if I like the Life Aquatic or the Dejeerling the Dejeerling Limited more. Like both good films in different ways. I guess Life Aquatic is more fun.
Yeah.
I've
never seen Julie Unlimited, but yeah, like have to imagine Life Aquatic is more of like a for mass consumption movie.
Yeah. Okay. So the weird thing with the Darjeeling Unlimited is that like the premise is these three brothers, year after their dad died, they go on a journey to India, kind of a little one of those like white people spirit. Yes,
Yeah.
Ryan, good audience who can't see us. Ryan has side-eyed.
It's Spider-Man. Like they make fun of that in Spider-Man. The whole like, oh, you're just gonna find yourself. You're gonna go to India and find yourself, like every white person who's ever lived. Yeah.
That's what they try to do. And actually, like I think Wes Anderson pretty effectively avoids any like Orientalism tropes there, and it's kind of making a point of, hey, that's actually a problem, and you shouldn't use a country with like with people and culture and like yeah, you shouldn't use them as an escape for your problems. The only problem is that this movie came out a year after the book Eat, Pray, Love came out, and the idea of doing that got really popularized. So I think, Darjeeling Unlimited, Darjeeling Limited might be Wes Anderson's most slept on movie because I'm pretty good, but I knew nothing about it and never heard anyone talk about it prior to watching. Also, first appearance of Adrian Brody in Wes's cavalcade of actors. Pretty good.
Cavalcade of actors.
Yeah. Got Jason Schwartzman back. He's barefoot for most of the movie.
Can't stand that guy. I don't know what it is. Not a fan.
You don't like the original Short King?
No.
Oh.
Just vibes are the opposite of immaculate.
Wow.
Vibes are filthy. Don't know what it is.
This is the weirdest celebrity beef I've ever heard of. Okay.
You don't have actors that you don't like that like you don't know why. You just they give you the ick. You see them and you're like, not so much.
The only ones I can think of are people who've been canceled. So yeah.
You've never just disliked an actor because of their performances, nothing due to like actual real life shit. Like just because you're like, they really don't do it for me.
I'm about to Google bad actors.
No, not bad actors. I don't know that Jason Schwartzman is objectively a bad actor. Just like an actor that might be celebrated that you don't get. Like you're like, I don't know the hype. I don't get it.
Not that I can think of.
Andrew, what you got?
I'm really struggling to think of who I don't like as actors. I might I'm gonna say a guy, and the thing is that I do like them in some things, so this doesn't really count, but like Jake Gyllenhaal gives me the
I
ick.
can see that.
Like,
yeah. Maggie Gyllenhaal gives me ick.
Yeah, that's fair.
For sure.
That's also fair.
Like I like Nightcrawler from Jake Gyllenhaal, and I like
Nightcrawler might be why I don't like Jake Gyllenhaal, because I hated that character so much. Not because he did a bad job, but like he's such a despicable person.
He is.
That now I just associate, like, I probably couldn't see Zodiac without, thinking like, oh, Jake Gyllenhaal fucking sucks.
That is fair. I think he turned in an admirable performance, although the character was, yes, absolutely despicable.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing is I don't like Nightcrawler. It is a good movie objectively, but like it made me feel bad.
Made you feel all the bad.
I maybe Mark Wahlberg, but like I don't.
That's fair.
Why not?
Hey, I'm gonna back you up on that one. I don't like Mark Wahlberg.
I mean, I like him in
the other guys.
The other guys in Ted, I guess. But the joke there is that like, oh, this is Mark Wahlberg playing these characters, like that. Yeah. So I guess when he's I guess it's Mark Wahlberg because the only time I like him is when he's playing off type or it's ironic casting.
Right.
Yeah.
What about Hugh Jackman?
Huge jacked man.
Is Russell Crowe? No, I liked him in The Nice Guys.
Russell Brand.
He's great in that.
Oh, Did we talk about that? Did we talk about Russell Brand kind of being as terrible as a lot of people were picking up on?
Yeah, just being super on brand. Like,
Brand man always on brand, but the brand is bad.
Yeah, again,
that was supposed
vibes
to be a
opposite of
segue.
immaculate.
Yeah, that was supposed to be a segue into Rick and Morty, by the way.
Oh,
the Hugh
I
Jackman thing.
haven't seen it. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Yeah.
Ryan, have you seen it?
Wait, what? Rick and Morty?
Yeah,
it came out
season
last
7
night.
premiered.
I didn't see it. No.
Oh.
I didn't even know it came out, I'll be honest.
Oh, I watched it right before the podcast because I thought you guys would have seen it.
No.
No.
I didn't watch shit.
That reference
didn't do
doesn't
fucking
make
shit.
sense then.
Yeah.
Does not make sense.
How are the voices?
Morty is not really in this episode. It is
Okay.
a Rick centric episode. At times it's spot on. At times it's pretty solid, and at times it's like really noticeable.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's
You
interesting.
get used to it by the end. Like by
Right.
the end of the episode, like it didn't matter. But like when they first like went in on Rick, I was like, oh shit, that really does sound like a different guy. But then it went away.
Have you Googled the voice actors? Now that I guess now they're public. They were
Yeah, I
keeping
mean,
them
they-
somewhat under wraps.
They didn't release the names until they didn't even really release
Well, yeah.
the names.
Well,
It
now
was
you
just-
have to because
the episode aired and the credits rolled, and
Yeah.
I had never heard of either of them.
Oh,
Ian Cardoni and Harry Belden. I don't know either of them offhand either.
interesting.
They
Very interesting.
what is your all right, Ian Cardoni doesn't have much of an IMDb page. But then again, who does?
Me.
Oh,
I have an IMDb. I didn't know
weird.
that from when I worked on the Emmys. My
Okay.
mom found it.
And you would no, we talked about this. They're misattributing you a little bit.
Yeah, one of them. Yeah, it's the Minecraft guy.
Okay, Harry Belden, he's getting around a little bit. He was on Joe Pera Talks With You. He was on Chicago Med.
Is he Rick? Like he's kind of the more established one?
No, he plays Morty.
Oh. Very interesting then.
So Ian
Would not have
Cardoni is the
expected
guy
that.
that plays Rick.
Correct.
And he's the less experienced of the two. That's interesting because Morty's way more one note. Like, say what you will about Rick, but he's got depth. Morty's kind of a horny teenager.
Okay, that's fair. He is a horny teenager. Also, we finally started our Dungeons and Dragons Baldur's Gate campaign.
Yeah.
And now we'll know the first world struggle of trying to meet up regularly to continue a Dungeons and Dragons campaign.
Yeah.
Always.
And I feel like I have to respec and recreate my character because I misunderstood the assignment in terms
I
of
love Borg. You better not.
Borg's great.
what? Yeah, you're Frank Sinatra.
What's wrong with Borg? Borg's
It
kinda
doesn't
awesome.
fit. You guys are both doing characters that already exist, and I made up a guy.
Frank
I feel like
Sinatra's not a character.
I
Like, that's
feel
a-
like
that's a
an
person.
asshole for being the only guy that exists within the world of Dungeons and Dragons.
Frank Sinatra exists in the world of Dungeons and Dragons.
Always has, always will.
Yeah. What, do you want me to rename him Frankie or something so it's more generalized? Like,
No, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with what you guys did. I feel like an asshat for being Borg.
I know nothing about Frank Sinatra. Like, all I'm doing is just singing some of his songs and then like being a 50s like fucking dilettante. Not dilettante, I don't know the correct word. Like, yeah. There's no actual character of Frank Sinatra going into this. It's just, you know?
Lucas
What's that?
Lucas is a character from a web comic from 20 years ago.
You know?
I'm gonna find
Can't
that
vouch
Zephyr
for that.
Blade. I'm gonna do it. Feeling good about it.
No idea what that means.
It's a bit from that show. The
Pretty
Zephyr
good
Blade
one.
is a tree branch.
In the first episode of Duralius and Associates, they seek the Lady in the Lake to get the mythical Zephyr Blade, and
And
then
she just fucks with them.
she's just fucking with him the entire time.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, what have we done so far? What's been
Uh,
the vibes?
killed a couple of goblins.
We did.
True.
Killed a couple of demon guys and a couple of brains. Now we're at the Emerald Grove, trying to end race relations conflict.
I feel like Borg would have killed that lady that threatened the kid. I really wanted to, but I didn't want to fuck up the story for you guys by getting us kicked out of the Grove.
I mean, I'm doing my own campaign. Like, we can get as wild and weird. Actually, the further this deviates from my playthrough, the better. Honestly, that's how I see more of this game.
Yeah.
All right. I think that'll just about do it for episode 237 of the Voluntary Viewing podcast, which will almost certainly be titled, He Was Mr. Pfizer. If you like what you heard, like, comment, subscribe, etc., check us out Instagram, YouTube, TikTok for highlight clips. ActBlue link in the description. Support us through our Patreon, like the fantastic Tiffany Cole and Sucky Badger. Email us your questions, business opportunities, voluntaryviewing@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter at V2_podcast for updates, and follow me, Lucas the Writer, on Twitter, but probably Blue Sky. And if you need one of those, if you need to get on Blue Sky, you want a code, I have some. Got to pass a couple of vibe checks. I can get you on there. Goodbye, everyone.